Counsel, would you discuss the preemption issue just briefly?
Yes, Your Honor. This regulation, the Secretary says in this regulation that it is intended to preempt arguably any inconsistent state laws with respect to vaccination requirements. And for example, in this case, the most direct example I can point to, Your Honor, is at 20-7-134 of the Arkansas Code that prohibits as a condition of employment any sort of vaccination requirement.
But that's somewhat ironic since the government relies on those other vaccinations to argue for this vaccination. But are all of the party states in the same position with respect to preemption?
Your Honor, certainly the district court in this case, at the very least, cited that Arkansas, Wyoming, and Missouri are similarly situated with that respect, and certainly there are other states in the Missouri-led coalition that also have laws that are going to be preempted by this regulation. The key point here, Your Honor, just like in Mass VPA, is so long as one of us has one of these laws that would affect our duly enacted legislation through an unlawful mandate, it does present an issue on preemption. Now, that's independent, obviously, from other interests that the states have in this case, which is the states are the administrator. It's our providers with respect to Medicaid. With Medicare, we're being asked to facilitate this program for the federal government. We have compliance costs. We have surveyors who have to go out and enforce this rule. All of that are the state's interests, Your Honor.
Well, the one final point has to go to standing. You seem to rely on parens patriae a bit. And would you discuss that standing and why we should apply that?
Well, sure, Your Honor. And just to be clear, we do have various capacities here. We mentioned sovereign interest. We mentioned proprietary, a whole plethora of them. And certainly we did invoke also a quasi-sovereign interest in the health and well-being of our citizens. For example, this mandate will close the doors of many of these rural facilities that will effectively deprive our citizens of health care. And we also are asserting rights under federal law with respect to the APA on many of these claims. But that is not the only basis that we're seeking standing in this case. We have various other capacities that we're suing under, just like the ones I mentioned, Your Honor.
Is that true of all of the parties?
I believe so, Your Honor, yes.
Thank you.
There was a question. Sorry, Chief.
No, I was just going to ask you about the spending clause context. In other words, we're not just dealing with federal law in the abstract. We're dealing with a provision that says Congress authorized, the Secretary to ensure compliance with requirements that the